You worked too hard to be liked today. I watched a man spend $45,000 on a watch he didn't even want, simply because the clerk made him feel like he wasn't allowed to buy it. By the end, he wasn't buying a timepiece. He was buying his own self-worth back. He was desperately trying to prove he belonged in a room that treated him like a ghost. Walk into any high-ticket environment in 2026, and you'll see the same dance. The air is thick with a specific kind of coldness, a curated silence that most business owners are deathly afraid of. We've all been there, standing behind our desks, practically vibrating with customer service energy, smiling until our jaws hurt because we're terrified that if we stop, the client will realize we're just as desperate for their money as we are for their approval. I remember checking my email every 4 minutes, convinced that if I didn't reply within 60 seconds, I'd lose the only lead I had that month, essentially acting like a golden retriever hoping for a scrap of attention. We think we're being professional. In reality, we're signaling that we are subordinates. We are training our clients to see us as the help, not the authority. Let's look at a common friction point that reveals who is actually in control. A high net worth client looks at your proposal, scoffs, and critiques your pricing as excessive. What is your immediate psychological response? Option 1, the logical defense. You explain the value and justify every cent to prove you're worth it. Option 2, the desperate move. You offer a first-time incentive to secure the win before they walk out the door. Option 3, the people pleaser. You apologize for the friction and offer a freebie to build a relationship. Think about it. 3, 2, 1. The real move? Option 4. You agree with them. You say, "You're right, we are the most expensive option." Then you return to your work without another word. You let the silence sit there like a heavy weight in the room. It feels like suicide, doesn't it? But the research from Ward and Dahl in 2014, the Boutique Snob effect, proves that for high-ticket services, unfriendly or indifferent staff trigger the human brain's primal fear of social exclusion. When a person of perceived higher status or authority rejects us, our subconscious enters a threat state. We stop evaluating the product and start evaluating our own status. The only way to resolve that internal tension? By acquiring the symbol of the group that just rejected us. You aren't being mean. You are being unavailable. The math is brutal but consistent. Kindness signals you need them, while indifference signals they need you. Your 20-page proposal, filled with flowery language and value adds, is often just a very expensive way of saying, "Please like me." You're acting like a waiter at a 1-star diner when you're trying to sell a 5-star solution. The brain interprets your friendliness as a lack of authority, which is exactly why they keep asking for discounts. They don't respect the person who is trying to be their best friend. Describe the last time you felt you had to beg for a sale. That moment you felt your dignity slipping while you waited for a maybe in your inbox. We've all been there, and it's time to kill that version of you. We're stepping into the cool club boardroom now. It's 2026, and the air is thin. You're sitting there, trying to look like you've got a dozen other deals waiting, but your internal monologue is a frantic, sweaty mess. I remember staring at a silent phone for 3 hours, wondering if my best regards was too formal, or if I should have used an emoji to seem approachable. I was basically auditioning for the role of their favorite doormat. You're oscillating between being a world-class authority and a glorified assistant who's just happy to be in the room. You want to be the partner, but your body language is screaming for a performance review. Let's test your 2026 survival instincts with a quiz trap. A potential high-ticket client, the kind that could fund your entire next quarter, hasn't replied to your follow-up email from 3 days ago. Total silence. What is your move? Option 1, send a "just checking in" nudge, the pathetic poke. Option 2, call them and leave a detailed, helpful voicemail, the persistence trap. Option 3, wait another 3 days and then send a limited time discount to sweeten the pot, the suicide mission. 3, 2, 1. The 1% answer is option 4, send a closed file email. You state that since you haven't heard back, you've assumed the project isn't a fit for their current level of growth, so you're closing their application to clear space for the next firm. You aren't following up, you're auditing their eligibility. This isn't just ego. Tajfel identified this in 1979 through social identity theory. Human beings derive their entire self-image from the groups they are allowed to join. If a brand, or a consultant, is too easy to access, the brain's status radar simply filters you out. You become background noise. But the moment you create a barrier, the moment you become the gatekeeper, The brain assigns you a massive premium to protect its own ego. If it was hard to get a yes from you, then that yes must be the ultimate validation. The crime most of us commit is being too available. We think responsiveness is a virtue, but in the high-ticket world, it's a biological red flag. If you're always free for a quick chat, the subconscious assumption is that you're failing. Your alibi is that you're customer-centric. But the reality is that scarcity of attention is infinitely more addictive than scarcity of product. The 1% never chase a lead. They reevaluate whether you're worth their time. Share one word in the comments that describes how it feels when a high-level gatekeeper finally says yes to you. That specific hit of dopamine when you finally feel good enough. Because once you've triggered that desperate need for acceptance, you're ready to see how the silence of indifference actually forces them to double the deal size just to prove they belong in your world. Think about the last time you sat in the final closing room. The air is heavy. The contract is sitting there, a white rectangle of judgment between you and a client who could double your revenue with one signature. This is where most owners experience a total nervous system collapse. You can feel the internal negotiation starting, the pathetic, high-pitched voice in your head screaming, "Fill the silence. Tell them about the free onboarding. Offer a discount before they realize they're making a mistake." I've been there, smiling so hard my teeth hurt, practically vibrating with the kind of desperate, please like me energy that makes a high net worth client want to take a shower. We think our enthusiasm is a tool, but in the 2026 market, it's a red flag. It's the scent of a subordinate who is starving for a win. Let's look at the quiz trap for this specific moment. The contract is on the table. The client is staring at the fine print, silent for a full 45 seconds. It feels like an eternity. What is your move? Option 1, the nervous leak. You keep talking to fill the void, explaining the value for the 10th time. Option 2, the permission request. You softly ask if they have any more questions, handing them the power on a silver platter. Option 3, the social proof crutch. You launch into another story about a happy client to soothe your own anxiety. 3, 2, 1, the twist. Answer is option 4. You look at your watch, check a notification, stand up and say, "I actually have another meeting in 5 minutes. Shall we finalize the details now? Or should I clear the implementation slot for the next firm on the waiting list?" This isn't about being rude. This is Veblen's theory of conspicuous consumption applied to human interaction. In 2026, high-ticket spenders don't buy features. They buy the relief of acceptance. They want to be part of something that is hard to get into. By being completely indifferent to whether they sign or not, you provide biological proof that you don't need their money. And ironically, the moment they realize you don't need them, they want to give you their money 2.4 times more often. Your 30-page proposal wasn't a business document. It was a love letter to a stranger who hasn't even texted you back yet. Treating a $100,000 client with the same coddling service you'd give at a fast food counter is a crime against your own authority. They don't want a servant. They want a partner who is harder to impress than they are. The 1% never follow up. They reevaluate your eligibility. Luxury isn't a product. It's the absence of the need for your approval. Comment lock if you are ready to stop being the nice guy of your industry. You are no longer just a salesperson or a service provider. You are a subconscious engineer. You finally see the invisible strings of human greed and the desperate search for social status. You realize now that your kindness was actually an insult to your product's value. It was a low-status signal that scared off the real whales. From this moment on, the chase is over. You stop pursuing. You start gatekeeping. The customer is no longer the king. They are the applicant sitting in your lobby, hoping for the privilege of your time. You own the remote control to their ego now. Watch how they scramble to please you once you stop trying to please them. Are you a business owner or just a polite beggar?